The OnePlus 8 Pro was my favorite smartphone of 2020. It was the phone that I used the most and I enjoyed the most because of its feature set. I really liked the build quality. I thought it was fantastic. I loved that frosted glass back and emerald green color. It was lightning fast. The battery was pretty good. And it was the first OnePlus phone that had a main camera system that could actually compete with the flagships on the market. What's up guys, BoHD here, and OnePlus is expected to unveil the successor to the OnePlus 8 Pro and OnePlus 8 next week on March 23rd. We're gonna go ahead and talk about everything we can expect to see featured with the OnePlus 9 series, starting with the cameras, because this is where OnePlus is really trying to make the best first impression. So what we know is that OnePlus teamed up with a camera company called Hasselblad. They are the iconic Swedish camera maker that has some of the most expensive cameras on the market. They've been releasing cameras ever since World War II, maybe even before that. So we're gonna see some Hasselblad branding and some other design cues brought over to the OnePlus 9 series. But arguably, what's gonna be even more exciting is the custom designed Sony IMX789 sensor found in the OnePlus 9 Pro. Some of the features that this lens has includes 12-bit RAW support, the ability to shoot 4K at 120 frames per second or 8K at 30 FPS, something that my DSLR doesn't even allow me to do. You've got what they're calling omnidirectional autofocus and a new version of HDR called Digital Overlap DOL HDR. So basically what that is, first of all, HDR, when you capture an HDR image, there's two or more images that are captured or shot in sequence at different exposures, allowing you to capture more shadow detail and highlights based off the exposure. The best attributes of those images are combined into one image. Well, because there's a slight time delay between these exposures and when these images are captured, it can cause what's called as HDR ghosting, especially when there are moving subjects like a bird flying across the frame. DOL HDR captures a short and long exposure image at effectively the same exact time, reducing this motion blur that you get sometimes. The other neat feature is 12-bit RAW support, which will allow up to 68 billion potential color tones. And I think this color science is where Hasselblad really will come in and make their mark, so to speak, as they don't really make the lenses or the sensors. They are really known for their color science. It's also worth noting, since we're talking about the cameras, that the OnePlus 9 Pro will have a 50 megapixel IMX766 ultra wide angle camera sensor with practically no edge distortion in the ultra wide photos it captures. So that looks pretty cool. But you know, hardware is only one part of the puzzle nowadays with cameras and smartphones in general, so we can also expect some pretty neat software features included with these new smartphones. We have a rumored tilt shift mode, allowing users to capture scenes that look like miniature models. We've seen that with the latest Huawei phones. A second major feature is called Moon Mode, which will allow you to add various filters for capturing the moon. Not much else is really known about this feature just yet. We also have a starburst mode, which will add a visual effect when you point the camera at a strong light source like the sun. And then we have a fairly self-explanatory hyperlapse mode, allowing you to film a stabilized video time-lapse while you are moving. But generally speaking, the standard OnePlus 9 is expected to feature a total of 3 main camera sensors on the rear and a hole punch cutout for the selfie camera in the front of the display in the top left corner. The design should be fairly traditional though, with a flat display and that famous OnePlus alert slider making a return on the top right of the phone, the side of the phone that is. And as for color options, we can expect black, blue, and purple. Now, like I alluded to earlier in this video, there should also be a Pro version of the 9 series, like the OnePlus 8 series. So the OnePlus 9 Pro will have a quad rear camera array on the back. It'll have a curved 6.7-inch display, although the curved edges of the display are rumored to be a lot more subtle than they were in the OnePlus 8 Pro. We will have a punch hole selfie camera, and it looks like the color options will be black, silver, and forest green. There is rumors of a third model dubbed the OnePlus 9E or OnePlus 9R. It will be the cheapest and the smallest model in the OnePlus 9 series, although not much else is really known about this device, or even if it exists. I just thought I'd mention it in case they surprise us next week. But powering the devices will be the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset paired with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of UFS 3.1 storage. The OnePlus 9 is expected to feature 12 gigabytes of RAM, so it's going to be a speed beast, no question about it. And as for the displays, the OnePlus 9 Pro could see an adaptive 120 Hz refresh rate on an OLED LTPO display. So it'll be able to adjust the refresh rate based on what it is you are viewing to ultimately save battery life. The standard OnePlus 9 will not have this adaptive capability, but it should still have a 120 Hz refresh rate, which is still very nice and better than the latest and greatest iPhones, just saying. In terms of charging, the OnePlus 9 series should feature 65-watt wired charging and 45-watt wireless charging support for the Pro variant. The OnePlus 9 should still feature wireless charging, just not quite as fast as the Pro variant. It'll likely also feature reverse wireless charging for charging up a pair of earbuds or maybe a separate smartphone you have in your pocket. Both phones are expected to receive a 4,500 milliamp hour battery with a charger included in the box. It's really sad that I have to even mention that, but ever since Apple decided to drop the charger in their newest iPhones, other manufacturers like Samsung are doing the same. OnePlus is not one of them, thankfully, but it's probably only a matter of time until they follow suit. Now, the only model to receive an IP68 water and dust resistance rating will be the OnePlus 9 Pro, but that's not to say the standard OnePlus 9 will not have support for water resistance. It just won't have that coveted rating. A lot of times when you get these smartphones rated as such, it costs money because you have to get a firm to basically test the phone in detail, slap their logo on it. They'll take a cut of the pie. So OnePlus, maybe they're saving some money and not getting the standard OnePlus 9 certified, but it should still have some protection against the basic splashes and dust and such. Last but not least, we can talk about the pricing. So it's really anyone's guess right now, but we could expect the OnePlus 9 to debut for around $699, $700, while the 9 Pro will come in at around $899, just like last year's OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro. These phones will, of course, support 5G, and they'll likely support the major carriers here in the US, like T-Mobile and Verizon. I've definitely seen rumors mentioning T-Mobile by name. We can expect Verizon as well because of last year's support. So hopefully it'll be able to reach the most people as possible. Pre-orders start on March 23rd when the devices are officially unveiled. With that said, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. That's everything we can expect to see featured in the OnePlus 9 series of smartphones. As always, I'm BoHD from Slash.tv. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.